Hello. It's 3:51 in the morning. I've been awake for about maybe 45 minutes. That happens sometime. Especially when you, like me, and you go to bed at 7:30. I insist on getting my rest because I understand the importance, especially when you're training. You train hard, you must also rest hard. And eating hard doesn't always mean eating hard. It means eating right. But training, resting, and nutrition should be consistent. If you work out hard, you should balance the other two. Mentally, physically, psychologically, and emotionally. But that's just me. Can't speak for anybody else. But anyway, I'm probably going to doze back off before I actually get up. Big day ahead, big weekend ahead. But I was just thinking of something that I want to share for therapeutic purposes. On my live stream on yesterday, I said I did something the night before, which would have been Wednesday night, that I had not done. And of course, I was keeping it personal and private because it wasn't anybody's business. But after meditating here and praying, I thought, let me just share the revelation in the moment. And not necessarily my business, because personal and private is indeed that. But when you can share something, get over it. Anyway, I had a colleague that I met a couple of years ago, and I did business with them. And probably maybe not even a year, 6 or 8 months ago, they actually moved away and kind of disappeared. And the business they started just obviously for whatever reason didn't work. And I'll say for whatever reason because I don't know the details. But anyway, they had moved away and I hadn't heard from them. Well, I've been keeping in touch, a text here every now and then. But they had moved away and started something different in a whole new city. But I found out on Wednesday that they were in town to close, the business and then move on to the new adventures that, they were starting. So I had the opportunity to say, man, we got to connect because you're going to be gone and I'm probably not going to see you guys for a while. So let's just try to connect. Well, I did something that I don't normally do. I just mentioned that I'm usually home at 7 o'clock and trying to go to bed by 9 o'clock. I'm already rolling over, and I don't care if that's the weekend or weekday. I'm not a street person. I don't have to be out in the club. I don't need that kind of attention or distraction. So hanging out is just not my thing, and I don't care if I ever go to a club or bar or anywhere at night where there's that kind of nighttime activity. Of course, when I get invited to something, I'll take advantage of it, but it's just not in me to have to be in the streets, and I'm okay with that. But anyway, my friend said, I've got to finish doing what I've got to do, but I don't want to miss the opportunity. Let's just try to catch up later. And in my mind, I'm thinking, later? I don't do later. Long story short, what was supposed to be a one time ended up almost 2 hours later. And I ended up leaving my house at 10 o'clock at night. My mama's child? What? Nah. But this was that one opportunity that I knew I would not get for a long time. So I did it anyway. And I'm new to the two-wheel game. And I've been riding my motorcycle lately, and I try to be home before dark under all circumstances. Occasionally I get caught out, but I bought a clear visor last week so that if I am ever caught out, I can change it so I can see at night. And the more experience I get, the more I realized that if it happens, you need to move around until you actually get, your car. You have to make the best of your situation. So anyway, after communicating and being patient and waiting, the time came when it's like, you either going to do it or you're not. I was like, don't be no punk. Just do it. So I was all set and ready. 10 o'clock, I'm heading out for the first time ever. It's just not something I do. Anyway, connected with my friend, we sat down, we chatted, and boy, was it a good old time. We caught up and we just shared different stories, and it was one of those moments where, totally innocent, sure, she's a female, and I have to be careful, especially during this season, with how I interact with people in general, especially, with women. I am not the same dude I was 6 months ago, a year ago, and especially within the last 3 or 4 months. So this was one of those moments where it was a little awkward, totally innocent, but I took advantage of it because this was one of my colleagues that I have a great deal of respect for. So we sat down, we chatted, we caught up, and we laughed, and it was just one of those cool moments. And after we sat down and chatted, we went separate ways and everything was cool. And I'd been kind of reflecting on it. And of course, some of the stories she told me and some of the stories I shared, they were kind of similar. But we were both being cautious, considerate, and respectful. And I do realize, you can connect with people without responding to, I guess, what would come natural when a man and a woman sit down. You have to be careful and cautious and even disciplined. And it's so important. But let me get to my point. After sitting here thinking about it, what I want to share with myself for therapeutic purposes, and maybe you can get something out of this also. It's very important that we realize that anything we want to last and be of good use and benefits, we must maintain. From relationships to our home, to our car, to our jobs. There's certain things when we go to work that we must do in order to keep that job. We have to be on time. When we, took the interview, there are certain requirements in order to keep a job and to get raises and promotions. You have to abide by certain guidelines in order to keep your job if you want to stay in that career or retire from that particular place. Same thing with anything else. I look at my dwelling place, my home. I've got to be and have been accused of being, the neatest man around. And I'm about to say I don't know why, but I do know why. My dwelling place is neat, clean, and organized because I understand the importance of the benefits I receive from being organized. I mop, I clean, I dust. I like my shower clean. So at least once a week I'm scrubbing the walls and, I'm just that dude because I know the peace that it brings. And not talking about anybody. You ever go to someone's office or home or get in someone's car and there's junk everywhere and you just can't even see your way? It's called discombobulation and a lack of organization. It just, creates other issues that you can see if you know how to look. And when you get my age and, my level of experience, you just now I know how to see that in advance. So anything you want to work well for you, you have to put in the time, effort, and energy and maintain it. It's just like brass. There's something called brasso. And I remember back in the days when I was in high school, we had these belt buckles, and they were made of real brass, and they would get tarnished. And everybody knew what Brasso was. You have to get some Brasso and clean it. And sometimes people would like the old dirty, normal look, but most people wanted their brass shiny. And you would have to put a little elbow grease into it, polish it, and clean it. And I'll even talk about my saxophones. I have 3 sets, and I have to maintain them. You know why? Because one set I've had for, 25 years. And those are my favorite horns. And I have, as a matter of fact, that tenor is at the, repair shop right now. I'm getting some work done to it. You know why? Because I want that horn to perform well for me. When I get on stage, I just want it to play. So occasionally I have to break it down and have it cleaned up and maintained. And the same thing goes with friendships and relationships. Everybody wants shiny and new, but no one wants to put the discipline in that it takes. You want your house clean, but you won't mop or clean or spray for bugs or, it just doesn't work that way. Whatever grass you water, that's what's going to be green and pretty. Whatever you maintain and sustain is what you can actually benefit from. So again, talking about my horns, I'm going to pick my black tenor up probably in another week or so. And I'm excited about what's being done to it and how it's going to, perform for me. Of course, I'm going to have to pay. It's called a complete overhaul, and I'm making some adjustments. But I'm excited about getting that particular one back and playing on that set again. Right now, I'm on my brutes because I've maintained them well. They are playing well, and I'm benefiting from them. My silver horns are, back home. So they're in shape. So when I arrive and I start playing, they'll play also. I'm saying all of this because of the revelation I got while sitting, chatting, and talking with my friend the other night, which I'm so happy for. She's doing very well. And I high-fived her, fist bump, we embraced, and it was just cool. And I'll keep in touch. And I'm excited about what's ahead for what's going on in their lives and how they're going to change. Just like with me, I've got changes going on and I'm excited. The point I want to make, and in closing, is if you're the kind of individual who is always chasing the new, who always wants something exciting but don't want to put in the effort and energy, then you're going to always be chasing that. And that happens. I have lots of friends that I see that. It's like even with, how do I say this? Even with my body lately, I feel like an old man now. And I probably should have done what I'm doing now years ago. But now I've learned sometimes you have to go through in order to get through. And as long as you arrive, some people never arrive. I'm maintaining my mental and physical health now. I don't miss the gym. I don't miss my physical training now. And it's because of the body and mind that I want. I don't think I'll get the Incredible Hulk body that I've dreamed of, but I can maintain my body now because of the effort that I put into it. And it's like the greener grass, theory. Grass is going to be green and beautiful wherever you water it and maintain it. That goes for saxophones, that goes for your home, that goes for your car. If you never change the brake shoes or brake pads, you're going to have a problem when it's time to stop one day. You must maintain things you expect to perform well. And if you're not a good steward of what you have, you will lose it, and you will always be chasing something different and new all the time. With that being said, I think the message is you have to be wise, intelligent, and mature enough to realize the importance of discipline, consistency, and a few other words I won't mention. But anything you want to do well requires well investing. Speaking of investing, I'm not a money or a numbers person, but I'll say if you want your investments to grow and mature, you must maintain them. Your money. You can't be frivolous. Oh God, one of my friends talk about that. I won't get into that. But if you want your money to do well for you, you have to watch your spending and be cautious and careful. Man, this was a lesson I got. And it all came from doing something that was uncomfortable and different in a moment that I didn't want to miss. And I'm glad I did. Of course, the next day was tough because I got in late. And I don't regret it at all. My friend is well. I'm well. We were able to encourage each other and excited about, different futures that we will probably keep in touch. Again, in closing, it's important to put time, effort, energy, and attention into whatever's important to you. And obviously, some things are not important as others, but you will know. If you look around and you see something that has gone to hell in a handbasket, you can take responsibility and accountability for the effort and energy you either invested or did not invest. And as I said on my podcast on yesterday, God allows U-turns. And I don't know why this word repentance is coming back. It's a religious word, I guess, but it's so powerful when it comes to wanting to do the right and the best things to improve our lives and our circumstances and our social, family, and, romantic and even private and personal circles. There's certain things we need to do, and it requires maturity and accountability in order to get those results. With that being said, whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. Put in a little, you get a little. Put in a lot, you'll probably get a lot. Oh, and speaking of that, sometimes you can make an investment and, the cookie doesn't crumble in your direction. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong or bad. It just means, you have to fall down 7 times, get your behind up 8. But I guess the message that I'm trying to share for myself and to anyone who will hear, we must always be on the path of growth, maturity, advancement, and improvement. And just because something doesn't work out today doesn't mean it won't work out tomorrow, especially if we maintain. I think that's a new word I'm going to add to my list. Maintain. I like it. It has a ring to it. Maintain. Yeah, I think that's what the title of this message will be. Maintain. Anyway, find someone you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it. Show it. Mean it. Let it be true by what you do and how you do it. It's not tough to be an adult. It's not easy. You can't be a child in an adult's body. Make yourself look good and act good, but then be rotten on the inside. Anyway, I'm going to go. This is much longer than I thought. Now I'm hyped. Hope I can get back to sleep for a little while. But anyway, that's my message. Take care of yourself, okay? Ciao.